There's no biological basis for race. And for my tradition, there's no biblical basis for it. For all the Christians who might be listening, there's no justification for it. We made it up. And if we made it, we can unmake it. If we can say it, we can stop saying it. When you start racializing people, you greatly reduce them. It's a huge reduction. My name is Starlette. How dare you reduce me to a color with all this vibrancy, all this vitality, all this activity? All you can come up with is black? That's the only word you have for me? And you don't just have it for me. You have it for every single person that you think looks like me. Now we're going to have a problem. I'm going to need you to be a little bit more creative. I'm going to need you to really delve deeply into who you see me to be. And I need you to speak deeply and authentically and not say what everybody else has said. Because if you're just going to say what everybody else has said, we're only going to do what everybody else has done, then what is the point of living? Why are we even existing if we're just going to be pawns in this game? I refuse to hop along, to go along, to get nowhere. I want to see something and say something different.
I'm cheesing. I even got tears in my eyes because I feel like we're kindred spirits. I think it's safe to say that because we see the problem, the core of the problem, and we see the future making potential of getting outside of the problem, outside of the quagmire. And it's the fact that racism itself continues to masquerade and be interpreted as race or racial. That is what is pernicious and what I hear you and what I myself am advocating for the removal and the undoing of. And all of those other things, because we've stopped racializing all of those things, we can have a proliferated idea of how we personally identify, how we identify as a sort of collective or community, which I view really as a nation. And we can disagree about how we identify, or we can have different ways of how we identify, but the imposition of race almost precludes us from even having those kinds of generative conversations. And I've become increasingly inspired to see American as aptly describing and defining who I am. And I've stopped looking for this sort of single point of origin as it pertains to what I view as my identity. Because, I've come to learn that based on human migration, if I go a certain number of centuries back, my people can originate from a certain place. But if I go back even just 50 more years or another century, then they probably originated from somewhere else. Because race operates in the ways that it has, American has been codified to lock out and preclude people who aren't racialized as white. But I see part of the future making as necessitating our deracialization, a deracialized understanding of what it is even to be American, what American is as an ethnicity, the reality of cultural formation, which is it's never fixed, it's always fluid, it's always in the making. There is no hierarchy, although we perceive a hierarchy even within how culture gets defined. American can describe all of us. So I wanted to invite you, Starlette, to comment on any aspect of what I just said or share any kinds of last points of wisdom.
I want to look at myself without the prescriptions of race, without the stereotypes in my ear. If you don't mind, if you could just get out of my face, I want to see me, and I want to see me clearly without any other commentary, because I didn't ask you anyway. Who asked you to talk about who I am as a human being? And who asked you to identify me as such? I didn't ask you to look at me and call me a color or to reduce me to such. Who gave you the invitation? I know I didn't. I don't know who called the meeting where we lined up people and said, this is how you're going to appear in society. I didn't accept that invitation. Maybe my ancestors did. But I want to decline it at this point. I want to get off of this auction block where you examine me from head to toe and tell me if I'm good or not, if light or dark, fair or dark. I want to get off of that. I want to get away from that. And I want to be free.